Okay, so now we'll work on inking and wiping. A dry point, or really even an engraving plate on plexi would be the same thing. So we have the plate. I'm just going to try to tilt it to the camera a little bit. Hard to see the image. We have some pieces of charlatan, some bigger, some smaller. We have pieces of pre-cut mat board. This is just from like the window when you frame a piece of art. I just save the scraps because they make good squeegees. And then our ink is a Kua brand. It is soap and water washable, non-toxic, non-oil based. But you see it's pretty liquidy. It kind of rolls around in there. A little bit actually goes a really long way. So what I always do is try to get some on one of the squeegees and then put some blobs where you have the darkest marks. And just kind of distribute it around. You don't have a lot in those outer areas, but there is some. Now, when you're spreading it, try to avoid this. Don't hold it at an angle, because it'll just smear. Hold it as close to straight up and down as you can. And then when I do that, see how you can already see her eyelashes? But it's pulling off where it's supposed to be lighter. So keep it totally straight up and down like that as much as you can. Now, you'll find as you do it that the cardboard or the mat board will start to bend. Sometimes you can switch. You can use all four sides, as it gets weak, and you can grab another one if you need to. But exactly what you're doing. Keep it as close to 90 degrees to the surface and just scrape the ink across. It's funny, I can already see some of her facial features. The reason that I don't like to smear it the other way is because then you have the same level of ink all over. It's hard to know how much to wipe or how long to wipe. It just takes longer. Now, in a perfect world, we'll print this and you'll love it. And you'll decide there's no changes, in which case you would go right on to your good paper. If, when we proof it, you do think that there are things you want to change, we'll wash the ink out of it first, make the changes, and then proof it again. Okay. But, I mean, we could always hope that it looks exactly like what you want it to do. And it might. It really might.
You want to get the whole plate too?
I probably would, because in yours you had some cast shadows behind her head and stuff. There are some marks back there. It's worth it to get all the way across. You could switch now to like the long side of that squeegee. Yeah. That'll help to pull more ink. There you go. And so if there's excess, you can wipe it either on here, or if you want to try to save it, you can put it in the container, but we've got tons. The more that you can get into the lines but off the surface, the less wiping you have to do. I almost always put a little bit too much on the first time I ink the plate, but I think that's pretty good. Yeah, we can start wiping now. So the reason this is here, we're going to tear a piece of scrap newsprint. Not paper towel, because paper towel has lots of fiber in it, and it'll shred and leave little bits all over. This won't shred as much, so we're just kind of balling it up, putting it inside one of the smaller pieces of our tarlatan cheesecloth. And then we're going to take the bigger piece and find a clean-ish area. These can get used until they're really full of ink, but I'm looking for a cleanish spot to put down first. Bang it on the table a couple times. Now it's pretty well flat. And then when you do this, you're going in circles, kind of from the middle outward. So you don't have to go like this. It's more like little. Right? Have fun. The other thing about this step is that you can, it's entirely possible to put too much ink. It's also possible to put too little. It's possible to wipe too much. It's possible to wipe not enough. So you really have to kind of learn this by doing a little bit of trial and error, but also everybody's design is going to be slightly different. Based on where you have the most values, like the darkness values, whether you want cast shadows, whether you want the image to look really, really clean, like just stark white and black, or whether you want to have some softer grays, we can control all of that stuff to a degree. I usually, at this point, you've gone across the whole thing once, take this and just reposition the outer cover to a cleaner spot. And give it one more go. I think with yours, 2 might do it. I usually end up doing 2 or 3. I mean, you can really see your image now, right? It looks pretty great on the plate as it is. Now, the places where you're going to want to definitely do some more wiping, there's a lot of ink on those outer edges, but also, can you see here where it's kind of swirling?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we call plate tone, where you didn't make any marks, you didn't make any cuts like you did in here, where you intentionally made a shadow. So here, that ink is just there because of the direction you were wiping. So we can leave it, we can take it off, we can manipulate it a bit. I think I would go just one more time with, just as you did, new position on the tarlatan on your outer edges, and then I'll show you a little wiping trick. That looks pretty good. Okay, so here's the wiping trick. You can do it with your bare skin. Some people do what they call a palm wipe. They use the heel of the palm and literally do that. And you see how it's cleaning off some excess ink?
Mm-hmm.
But then it does that
Yeah.
to your skin. You may not love that. So most people will do this instead. Newsprint finger wipe. So I usually just take one piece, fold it over in half, 2 fingers, and then use this to kind of polish it up. So you see out here, I've taken that gray off of that outside edge, which revealed the lines that we made. I think personally, I would leave the color of that plate tone in the strip.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? It gives it that extra tone, but then you get this clean edge to your background. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So you can keep tearing bits. Probably let's still use that. That's what we call basically finger wiping or palm wiping. So that is helping you control how much or how little plate tone is there and where it is. Like you might want it on the skin but not on the blouse. You might want it not on the headband but on the hair. You know, those kind of decisions you make from an artistic point of view. Do you want to pull a bright highlight down her bridge of her nose? Maybe? You know, those are decisions you'll make as you go. If you don't wipe carefully, then you'll end up seeing those weird streaky things everywhere, this kind of spiral of the way you wipe. Oh, it's fine. No, what's up?
About like kind of like self-searching. It's with a darker pencil, but like I just wanted to make it show.
Mm-hmm.
Is it like good?
I think so, yeah. The trick is whenever you're doing something smooth, like human skin, hatching is going to always look kind of like either wrinkles or hair. because it's linear. So I think shorter marks make sense. But definitely, like you were doing, refer back to those examples we looked at before. The photo you took doesn't have super dark shadows on it, and they're there, but they're more akin to this, little bits. Or like, those one in there, very little. Yeah, there. Just little touches, just like you did like that. I like making these a little less perfect there.
So like, because I usually don't have, so that's a new thing for me, is like kind of,
The idea is to try to make the line follow the curvature of the face.
Yeah,
So
which is
if you-
why like what we're doing in drawing, it's like having to add those like contours, it's very hard for me to try to think like that, you know?
Well,
So,
if you're,
like,
especially a lot of people like to blend
Yeah,
or to spiral, and then it's hard to conceive of it as a linear mark. So just think of this forehead as a smooth thing. It's doing this, it's doing that.
yeah.
Yes, have we done yours? I feel like
Yeah.
I've asked you that 6 times. Yes, okay, so you're gonna do the exact same thing. Prep your paper first. I'm a little inky, so let's get your paper done first. I think you're ready. Once you've finessed your last little wipes, I think we're ready to pull that one.